I'm making leg style header, just leg style headers. When I looked it up online to see how people made them, I couldn't find anything. So it comes in a kit. It'll give you the header flange. It'll give you a bunch of tubing and the box like that, right? So I made this up. This is my first go around here. And all I did, I'll show you how I did that. So yeah, I'll show you how to do that. So you look in your box, and it comes with like a bunch of these and 2 cones. So I had to find the distance for this. Here's going to be my first tube coming out. And then that tube, once I found out what that distance was, so I cut it down and then made a mark on each side. So you've got a bolt that goes in here for the flange. And the reason I did that is because I have to shape this portion to go into the flange that bolts up here. So anyway, I held it on each end, I centered it, and I made a marking here and a marking here. So that way I know when I put this in the vise, I can line it up and smash it. And I'll show you what I mean. But before we get to that point, just to show you what else I did, right or wrong, I lined up how I wanted it to look. And with this one here, I'm lining it up to match the other side, but I just lined it up to how I wanted it to look. And I just slid that over the top. Again, maybe right or wrong. You gotta hide this bottom weld part. You can put it wherever you want, of course. To get my angle, so anyway, it gives you an idea, right? So now I just slid this in here. And now, since I cut this to fit, I know what it's going to look like there. I've got both my lines marked on each side, so I can put this in the vise and smash it to make an oval. At least I know what it's going to look like. Okay. So now, you see, I got this line here and that line there. Now I'm just going to line it up in here. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm taking this, right, after I cut it off and I ground off the edge, I'm going to turn it from a circle and I'm just going to smash it down. You can see the smash marks here into that oval, so I'll fit it into my flange right down here, see? As you can see, it gets it real close. See, that way it fits. Just like that. Okay? So, I've got this tight. Start to smash this. This one's hard to do because it's right by that curve and it doesn't want to smash evenly. So you see it kind of smashed like that, right? So what I need to do is I need to pound this down with the hammer. So to do that, you can get the sandbags off of Eastwood. So hold it up like this for So what I'll do is I'll keep working with the hammer until I get that oval that I need, get it to fit. You get the idea. Again, take this, you line up your pipe where you want it, you get the angle that you want. And once I get this in that flange, I'll tack it on the outside to the flange, and then I'll line this up where I want it, because you can see it's kind of loose, and then I'll just tack it. And each time I'm going and I'm standing up in front of the car and I'm just getting a visual. So after that, you got to cut the other tubes that come into it. So you have to just hand cut, or at least I hand cut. I don't have a tool that'll do that, so I had to hand cut it. And when I do that, I smashed one end, and then I'll fit in, you know, each one, and I'll just kind of slide it up. Okay, so now what I've done is, these are magnets right here, and I just lined up to make sure that I had the right flow, and I put my flange on here, and I've just kind of pushed it into the flange so it's holding itself in place. So now I'm going to tack it onto the flange, and then I'm going to make a tack right here also. I'll actually do 2 tacks and 1 tack here. That'll let me adjust this a little bit, and then when I get a final adjustment, I'll put a tack on the other side, and that'll hold it better. So. And now you have your first tube set up, and then for the rest of them, let's say you can smash the end of it there, and then you have to make your cuts to fit. So when I make these bevels out like that, and I get it to fit, each one, I'll take a marker and I'll draw around this here on the pipe, around this. You can see where I've done that on the other side. And then that'll give me a hole right here, and then I take my Dremel and I just cut out that hole so it fits, and then when I'm done, I weld it all into place. Alright, so we've got this tacked up. We've got the megaphone or the horn or whatever tacked up to that first tube that we just did. Now, this is just an extra piece of tube that I had from the other side. So what I'm going to do is I will set this up like this. Then I have to account for like what, another ½ inch, but I'm just going to set it on there so it's going straight. And if you want to double check just to make sure you're getting it straight, you can, you know, use a triangle like that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to mark about halfway up in the tube. And it's just a visual, all that I'm marking. So that way, now if you want to see up over the top like this, you can kind of see how I'm just going to cut it off like that. If I pull it down a little bit, that's going to account for that extra quarter. So actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark this line up an extra ½ of an inch to make sure that I've got clearance for this that'll go down inside this. So we'll give that a try. Okay, so I got the pipe tacked into the flange we talked about earlier, right? So it goes on like that. And then I had to come in and cut the pipes down. So I got them shaped on the bottom to go in the flange, and then I got them shaped to go around the pipe. So Now they set in just like that. Alright, so it should be an easy set. If you look here, you can see kind of how tight they should be. And that way, if you have them tight like this, you should be able to get a pretty decent weld. The first ones I did, I had some pretty good gaps, so my welds didn't look like I wanted them to. So this time they're a lot tighter. I feel better about that. I'm going to get the last one in there. So now, the next step before I go to welding them in is, you can see right here where I marked with the marker. Now I'm going to go in with my Dremel and I'm going to cut that out just a little bit smaller than the mark there, and then I'll tack them all into place. Once I have them tacked into place, then I'll weld them up around the pipe here, and it comes into the flange. I weld on the inside, so that way you can't see any welds on the flange. So, and I wanted to show you one last thing too. After you guys shape to fit in the flange here, it makes it easier if you hammer it around the edges and give it that kind of a bevel. So that way when you put it in, it slides in a lot easier. So it kind of rolls in like that. Okay, so that's something I found out this go around. I didn't know that till this time, so a big help. Okay, rolls in just like that, and now I can tack it in, weld it up, and she should be done.
Standing on the edge, battling my head, I'm dying to know, I'm dying to know.
That's how I did it. Good luck on your project, and I hope it helps. I couldn't find anything when I looked, so thanks for watching.